the guest of honor, Professor K.C. Baju, Dr. A. Radhakrishnan Nair, Shri G.G. Thompson, Professor K.V. Thomas Kutty, Shri Dr. Joju John, Dr. Professor M.N. Mustafa, Professor M.K.C. Nair, Professor Shekhar Sheshadri, Professor Baby Shari, Professor Suman Kumar, Dr. S. Maya, Ms. Rama Bide, dear friends, academics and students. I'm really very pleased to join you this afternoon at the valedictory ceremony of the 9th International Conference on Lifestyles Education. Now, over yesterday and today, I think, you have all been discussing this subject. And we know, all of us, what is it which we are trying to develop through these conversations. Our hope is that whether they are young people who are starting their professional life, or whether they are those who are more experienced but who continue to aspire to better themselves, we all want to develop our competencies. We would like to also, I would say, develop or refine our interpersonal skills. We want to be able to make informed judgments, informed decisions. Where we encounter problems, we want to solve it in the best possible way. And obviously, we want to communicate what are our concerns or what are our interests in as effective a manner as possible. We would like to build relationships, because without relationships, you can't get anything done in life. We want to think positively, we want to think creatively. Sometimes, if the occasion requires, we want to think critically. So, in short, what we are trying to do through our life skills conversation, life skills teaching, life skills learning, we want to develop what are the right attitude towards life, attitudes that would make us more empathetic people, make us people who are comfortable with ourselves, who really would, who in a sense like life, enjoy life, want to go further in life. This is our objective. Now, as someone who's a little bit advanced in life, let me try and share with you what have been, in a sense, my own experiences. And I say this particularly addressing those who are sitting at the farther end of the room. I would say it's very important, first of all, to overcome fear of failure. Because all of us want to try something, but we are always worried what happens if we don't succeed. So, people will always say about themselves and about other people. We talk about the exams we passed. I don't know how many of us talk about exams we didn't pass, attempts we made. And I think Mr. Thompson and I think others here, many of us would say, okay, we passed the UPSC. But I would also tell you, I have sat myself for IIT entrance exam, I did not pass. I sat for an IIM exam, I did not pass. Fortunately, I passed, got into college, I got my master's, I got a few degrees after that. But I say this because people, everybody wants to try. But sometimes people hesitate from trying something because you are held back by what happens, oh my God, if it doesn't work out. So how to develop that, overcome that fear of not succeeding is a very important part of succeeding. The second point I would make is really, in terms of life skills, I spoke about building competencies. I would say building strengths is in a way, because sometimes competencies are very professional. Building strengths are something much deeper, much more emotional, much more, I would say, approach towards life and attitude towards life, and something which also handles non-work situations as well. But when it comes to what we want to do with life, I think you can build strengths best by liking what you do. And again, I speak to you from my personal experience. I began educationally as a science student. And to be very honest, I did science only because in my generation, there was pressure to do science. In my family, my father did science, my brother did science, so you feared that if you didn't do, they will think that there's something, you are not up to the mark. So I did my school living in science. I did my first degree in science. I got into IIT, not on the engineering. I actually got in for a master's degree in science, in chemistry. I was, I think, an average plus student. But then, honestly, my heart was not in it. So I would do what I had to do, but I didn't do it with the passion and the interest which you have to do if you have to do well in life. And then I switched my stream. I switched my stream and it was an accident. Okay, it was an accident. I was studying in IIT in Delhi. Next to it was a university called JNU. Okay, so I switched from IIT to JNU, and actually for maybe about 2 weeks I was too afraid to tell my father that I had done this. But I told my mother. And mothers are very good at protecting their children. So I don't know if she told my father or not, but at least to me she did not say that she had. Once I joined JNU, and I joined in political science, and I was very deeply interested in it. I actually used to read what was my curriculum textbook for my enjoyment. So imagine if you are doing a degree, all of you have some passion. There's something you want to do. Nowadays, you may not do it on a book. You may do it on a tablet, on a phone. Imagine if that, what you like doing, becomes your life. Your life changes completely. Because now, everything you want to do is actually is something you are enjoying. So I went through, my master's degree, my next degree, and then I had to make some kind of employment choice. And, I was liking what I was doing. And my father used to work in the government. So he was a very smart man. He knew how to deal with his children. So he asked me one day, saying, you are studying international relations, you are studying politics, you are studying. So do you want to keep studying so that you read about what other people do? Or do you want to do? Think about it. So that's all he said. He didn't tell me go do UPSC. He gave me that idea that if you go through, UPSC in my case, and today, when I say do something, it doesn't have to be UPSC. There are hundreds, thousands of ways of doing things. But how once he put it in my head that, look, you've been studying it, there is an option for you to actually practice it. That's how actually I took the UPSC exam. Fortunately, I passed and I joined the government. Now, I relate this to you because if I were to give a single, I would say, life skills and lifestyle advice, that one advice would be try to do what you like to do. And I assure you, nothing will develop a more positive feeling in you towards life and towards your own daily activities. Now, having joined the government, we got to work. In my case, we went out to embassies. I did 8 embassies over 41 years. Worked in the government in Delhi. And then there are some learnings you pick up. And these are learnings you pick up because these are also life skills that you have learnt on the job. One of them is, of course, knowing your limits. Now, you will say this is the opposite. On the one hand, I'm telling you, you should aim high, you should do everything, you should push yourself. So why is the same person telling you know your limits? Because in real life, all of us cannot know everything. But I think the smart ones know what they don't know. And more important, know someone who knows what they don't know. So often in life, it is you have your strengths, you have your competence. If you have developed the self-awareness, the humility, to say, okay, some things I don't know. I don't know, for example, I know very little about anything medical. I don't know that much about economics. I was asking Professor Baiju today, I will tell you, that is a further conversation. So I don't know very much about economics. But the key is, if you have the good relationships, and that is why relationships is important, that is where team spirit is important. If you know other people who, you say, okay, that friend of mine, that colleague of mine, this is a very famous person, very competent person. If you can develop that ability to tell yourself, I should be prepared, however advanced in life. I'm close to almost 50 years of work. There are still things I don't know. And by the way, particularly when it comes to a lot of tech matters, I talk to people who would be younger than my children. And I do that because I know that they know many things which I don't. So how to develop that attitude, practice that attitude, because often with people, and you don't, even younger people, often your ego, your self-esteem, they hold you back. You don't want to tell your best friends that, I actually don't know this. You want to look good. I want to look good in front of everybody. So how to overcome that desire to always look good? Match it with a sense that I will succeed if I get the right advice, the right input. I think that is also a great life skill. Now, that life skill actually is today central very much to developing a team spirit, to as I said, work with other people, to nurture interpersonal skills. And in this regard, as I said, it's important somewhere in life both to develop a purpose and a passion. If the two are same, you are on a fantastic course. They don't have to be the same. I have a great passion for cricket, but I don't think I will succeed. I could have succeeded in life as a cricketer. So sometimes your passions may be in parallel, with your purpose or your interest. Maybe that was a case where I knew my limits. So you can, I would say, go through life with these twin markers. What interests you, what motivates you, what drives you. What is it you are prepared to stay up later at night and get up early in the morning because something very, very interesting has happened. I'll tell you a small story which in a way will tell you what interest can do. I was in the year 2001, I was in the Czech Republic. Okay. In the Czech Republic, now is more connected. I'm talking 2001, which many of you would not, some of you may not even have been born here. You would remember there was an Indian cricket team that went to Pakistan to play a match. You know, when Virender Sehwag, if my memory serves me right, scored his triple century in Multan. Now, I was living in Europe. It's 3.5 hours, 4.5 hours time difference. So, match starts at 9 o'clock in the morning, which is 4:30 in the morning. In winter time is 3.5 hours, 5:30 in the morning. In a very cold place which is snowing, which is minus 15 degrees, where you actually struggle to get to work at 9 o'clock every morning. And I told my wife, I said, you know, what we had done in the embassy was we all came together. We put money, contributed money. I was the ambassador, so I gave the most. And we bought a card. Okay, so to buy a card, somebody had to go to another country, Austria. Buy a card. With that card, you could then access seeing that particular channel. Well, you know, those days technology was like that. We will remember it. Not everybody will remember it. Some of them will not know it. Now, I told my wife the day before, I said, you know, tomorrow morning, don't worry. From early morning, people will start coming home. You stay upstairs. Just clear up the drawing room area. She said, no, nobody will come at 4:30. I'm in 5:30. What are you talking about? You looked at the weather outside. I can tell you my entire embassy, you know, people who struggle to get to work at 9 o'clock, 10 minutes before the match, the entire embassy was there. Okay. And I say this as an example, that if people have an interest, you know, there's nothing they're not prepared to do if it really drives them. And when we talk about pursuit of excellence, we talk about competing, we talk about, you know, how to succeed in life. We talk about being happy. You know, all of that comes from, as I said, a purpose and a passion. The more they match, the better for you. Don't be disappointed if they do not always match. That is also a reality in life. But if you can pursue it, I assure you that, you know, it will keep driving you. I also would say, you know, because we are all humans, there are character traits which are very important. Now, you know, there is a phrase that honesty is the best policy. Okay. We all think it's a very noble thing to say. Actually, it's a very practical thing to say. Because if you are honest, you will never have a problem remembering what it was. If you are not honest, you sometimes forget in life what was it you said, you know. So somewhere along the way, you know, you will make some error. You know, I will tell you first time, you know, I couldn't come to your house for this reason. But fifth time, I will forget what it is I told him and I will give some other reason. You know, that day you will discover how honest I am. So there is I would say, a great virtue and a great value in being honest. There is also very high ethics in being honest. That is I would say, a bonus. But when it comes to interactions, you know, my business, whether as a politician today, I'm a very junior politician. I've been politician for 5 years. But I've been a diplomat for 41 years. There are two things which drive this profession, because this is a profession about people. You know, you can be the smartest person. If you do not connect with people, it doesn't help you being smart. To connect with people, you need chemistry, which means you have to develop likability. You have to be emotional. You don't have to be visibly emotional, but somewhere there has to be feeling. You know, we are all taught we should control our feelings. Very good. I also control my feelings most of the time. But I would say how to be, in a way, how to connect. Those who connect, whether you connect as a team, whether when you say interpersonal skills, it is about connection. And the second is to be credible. That, you would be surprised how many things I have done in my professional life. I do even today. Because if you develop over a period of time a sense that what you say is credible. Again, this word, my word is as good as a bond. That if I promise something, I will deliver it. And if you keep delivering over a period of time, people take your promises seriously. If you tell people, I will trust me, I can't do it now, but I will at some stage, I promise you I will do it. All of us in our own circle and bigger circles, we develop reputations. Even in our family, in each of our families, there would be people whom we will believe more than others. And that is something which comes out of experience. That if you have a brother or a sister or a cousin or an uncle, somebody who doesn't live up over a period of time to what they say they will do, their credibility will go down. So whether it is today politics, whether it is today diplomacy, and these are the two things in which I've spent most of my working life, I would say the credibility and chemistry. These are really very, very important. And in a sense, as I said, nations are like individuals. In diplomacy, you promise or you deliver on behalf of your nation. You're not speaking, you're speaking as a person, but you are representing a nation as well. And finally, life has challenges. It comes with life. And a lot of life is about assessing risks. That you come to some point, you have 2 choices, 3 choices. What do you do? Do you go, as I said, do you sit for the exam? Don't you sit for the exam? Or do you, choose this profession? Do you choose that profession? Within a profession, do you make this choice or that choice, this decision, that decision? How do you assess risks and how do you develop judgment? Because well-regarded people in life are the people with deep knowledge. The other are really people with very good judgment. And, every day, in big ways and small ways, judgments are constantly tested. So these were some of the thoughts, when I was invited to join the valedictory function. I thought, let me at least on life skills share some, if not skills, at least some thoughts from my own life, from experiences. But I came here today also because this morning I did a program called Vikasit Bharat Yatra, which is really to demonstrate what has changed in the country, in our society, in the last 10 years. And you can say in a way, this is all that I spoke to you about. Communication, developing strengths. My previous event was actually about how we are today providing the country and the less fortunate and the more vulnerable with opportunities to develop life skills. Because those who have opportunities, those who are well placed, it's not difficult. It's natural from there you want to go forward. But it's always good to look over your shoulder. Not everybody is always as fortunate as we may be. So how do we, in a sense, not just improve ourselves, because that's why this term Vikasit Bharat. Vikasit Bharat is when 1.4 billion, 140 crores will all go forward. But they will go forward only if there are opportunities. And opportunities today mean every house must have water, piped water, every house must have power, everybody must have a road to the place where they live. People must have a house. Having a house is no longer a luxury. People must have opportunity for education. People must have health access. If they have health access, the medicine should be affordable. So these are, it can be very basic, like, this switching from firewood to gas. Now for, many of us in the room, probably we've never seen firewood. But there are still very large number of people in this country who cook on firewood. So part of, I would say, the responsibility which comes with progress is also that if you are a collective, looking after the entire collective is also something which is part of progress. And which is why, this event in the morning was so important for me. But I give you another example, because you would have seen this in the news today. A few days ago, a ship, a Liberian ship with an Indian captain and Indian crew, mostly Indian crew, was taken over by pirates. This was west of India. And yesterday, in fact, as I was coming in, I came from Kathmandu to Bangalore to Thiruvananthapuram. This was my journeys for the day. Actually, the Navy was in the act of boarding this ship. Now, I mentioned this to you not only because it is in the news, because when I said how to assess risks, how to take a judgment, how to decide what is the right course of action, because life is not without risks. I mean, we see this every day, and in a sense, the more we connect with the world, different kinds of risks come. I mean, look at the COVID experience that we all had. I mean, the COVID was, every day was a risk. Every person you were meeting, in some way or the other, could be a problem for us. But you can't stop life because, of risks. So how to manage risks, how to deal with that, is actually, in a way, a very deep life skill, lifestyle, I would say, judgment. And let me finally end with one other point. Life is competitive, in every form. I mean, every day in some form we compete with each other, sometimes consciously, sometimes naturally. But because it is competitive, doesn't mean that we subjugate all our other interests and relationships and feelings in the pursuit of competition. That sensible competition, I would say, it's a bit like running a sprint versus life is a marathon. You are running every day. So it's good. Even in a marathon, people, speed up and slow down. That can happen. But somewhere in life, the importance of values, of, in a sense, of standards, of norms, of ethics. That is why when I said develop a passion, but develop a purpose. I think having a purpose is also something which is very important in life. So let me conclude once again really by thanking you all for the opportunity to meet you today, to share some of my own experiences in life. I hope that this conference will be one step in the larger direction of what we are trying to do. And when we look again, when we speak about Vikasit Bharat, Vikasit Bharat will require a completely, much higher level of, I would say, human skills, of human development, of human resources. And I do believe that what we are today talking about will be a very important aspect of that. So once again, thank you very much. Yellarkum namaskaram.